Welcome to Coffee and Pizza. I hope you can enjoy.
Welcome to another episode of Coffee and Pizza. And from today, we have someone very special. We have a very important, or in my case, it's someone, if you don't know, you can need to go to LinkedIn to check their profile because it's very interesting. He is a cybersecurity researcher, we can say. We have wins, and I believe behind of you, you have very interesting history. But can you give me some highlights of your life and what you did?
Yeah, thank you for having me. My name is Nguyen. I'm a security researcher. My main focus is proactive protection. So my goal is, be ahead of the game as much as possible.
Mhm. That's something I was for always I am checking your profile. I always try to follow you very close because you always are sharing very interesting information about how criminals or criminals are working. You are focused sometimes in Russian APD. Sometimes you go to Southeast Asia. But anyway, first of all, we start from the beginning. For where you're coming from, where you born.
Yeah, I was born in Vietnam. I immigrants to the US when I was about 11 years old. And I'm kind of like moving over the place in the US, so kind of like East Coast, West Coast.
I believe this is for a young guy like you. It's not to be very easy to make friends, right? Right. Whereas when you are new in a new country and you are moving abroad from one from one place to another one, this is what's so hard for you for talk.
Yeah, it's kind of tough because every grade I'm in, from 6 to 7 to 8 to, the whole high school, every year I go to a new school. So every year basically you make a lot of friends and you lost all of it because you have to go, to the new school. And this is the 90s where we don't have the internet, don't have the phone. So there's no way for us to communicate, with the friend. So yeah, it is kind of tough, but it's a blessing. Because learn a lot from a lot of different people. So
Mhm. And also, you are forced to improve your communication skills, right?
because I'm still pretty bad. I mean, um, at it. So
But I feel like in that time, like you need to be fast to make friends.
yeah, yeah, it was. Yeah, I'm kind of like very introvert. So I'm not very active. So um, networking or meeting people, talking is I have that type of anxiety, right? So but yeah, it's always interesting. So
But I I'm not like you in that because I was always living in the same place. But I can understand you a little bit because for me, make friends also was very easy because I'm very introvert person. Seems not because I have a podcast and everything, and but that's helped me or push me to improve my communication skills, to my skills for have friends, for introduce me to another new people, and that's I believe like when the people say, oh, but you are very open, I say because I work hard for it, right? And I believe you have something similar like me, right?
yeah, yeah, it's I only recently, as you mentioned about LinkedIn, I never like write anything make any post outside, privately, right? So is since I start my journey, it's like kind of force myself talking to people and talking to meeting all type of interesting people out there, very they have a lot of different background, very interesting. So yeah, we kind of like push ourselves a little bit, go a little bit above, and now whoever want to talk, ping me, and we just join in and talk, right? So yeah,
Mm.
it's been great.
And also, this is something funny because we will talk at the end of the conversation, but you are already running your company at the moment, right? Then you need to work hard with your communication skills to make new customers and bring money to the table, right?
It's tough. Like yesterday, I met a person, advisor on LinkedIn, and one of my questions, because he make a lot of posts about business and sell and all that. It's like, how do I sell? How do I talk to people, right? Because it's very different, right? It's not just catching up, but it's understanding people, have empathy. You know, like you have to listen, and so yeah, this has been cool.
It's something that people don't understand many times how difficult it is to make new customers, right? And because imagine, we have, I'm very lucky here because I had the possibility to have a meeting with AG Moore. I put the link there if someone went to go and check in. He's the creator of Metasploit. He's a very, very, we can say, important person in the community, right? And the conclusion on him is like, if you have the possibility, don't create your own company. That's what he said, right? Because always say like that. It's like it's hard to find and manage and handle customers, right? Because different customers, different problems, and also you need to handle the team and something like that. I don't want to be very, very specific about uh, entrepreneurship or something like that, but I believe it's important if someone is thinking about, it's important to understand, like, doesn't matter how good you are in cybersecurity or how knowledge do you have, because we have chance here to have incredible professionals, and the people is always saying the same. It's hard to find customers, right?
Yeah,
Then that's something you are experiencing at the moment a little bit, but we can talk about this
but
later. But
yeah, but I would say is there's so many problem out there. Like if someone have to solve it, right? So I think there's challenge um in finding in selling the product business or whatever. But it's like we have to try to solve you know problem out there because no matter what, cyber criminal, they're gonna do what they do, right? So yeah, it's tough, but we gotta try. So
mm. And also, Win, in my point of view, because you and I, we are very concerned about always the same about, many companies are doing pen testing, are doing, penetration testing or whatever, but it's not really focused to know how the criminals are working outside. Because I was trying to explain to the people is like, okay, your pen testing is not how the criminals are working outside. You know, your pen testing is very interesting, and it's interesting to do your pen test. I know about pen testing. I have some idea, but this is not how the criminals are working. But we can talk about this a little bit later, because first of all, I want to know how you introduce, like, how do you start in cybersecurity? How do you say, wow, that's how I felt, I want to go there.
um yeah, my original background wasn't in cybersecurity. I never used a computer before I go to college. My first thing that I did is took a class in programming, so programming in C. And the first program I did, "Hello World," print out the screen. I just hope, right? So I just know that that's what I want to do. So my background is more software engineering. Um, but I always like to break things. So always have that interest in seeing how things work. So at my college, we have software to protect people from you know um taking advantage of the computer, right? The lab. So one of the application is Tweak UI is basically locking everything up for the user, so you can't do anything that is harmful to the computer. So I have an interest in that and learning how to crack the software, how to bypass the securities, then how to reverse crack the encryption, the password. So that's kind of like how I get interest is always try to find challenge myself in or try to understand how things work and basically try break it.
The people I know more talented in cybersecurity come from a developer background. It's not my case, sadly. That's why I'm not good. I believe it's important. And you were starting working, like, how old are you when you were starting this, with 21 or something like that, or 18? When did you start to
Um,
create your first Hello World?
24 is right after college. I mean, I did internship like professionally. I did is like about 24 years.
Mhm. that means that you didn't start like so young in that, right? It's like
Well, yeah, I wasn't that smart as a student, so it's take me a little bit time. Plus, when I went to Drexel University, I was so interest in learning, right, about um, software engineering coding. So I wasn't focused in graduating quickly. I just want to learn and learn.
mhm.
So yeah.
And what do you study at college? Like programming?
Yeah, computer science. So I primary focus software engineering, developing. My focus is AI and graphic. So
Interesting, because this background is very strange for because now we are moving a little bit to know about your professional career, because I believe it's interesting for some people, because when I was checking your profile, I was thinking like, yeah, like, oh, this guy was working in some places very interesting, right? But I prefer you can explain by yourself, like where do you start working, like
oh
what is your first experience?
yeah, I kind of like over the place. But my first experience, I worked for Lockheed Martin. I built flight service application, so software that tracking airplane at Lockheed. So but that wasn't the my final destination that I want to be in. I want to pivot into like cybersecurity afterward. So I followed that. I joined another companies by accident, become a contractor. Don't get me started on that. The my boss was a very good salesman, so he able to sell me into joining him without really know exactly what I'm doing, and I quit after 6 months. Um, but follow that, I joined a small startup. I'm building forensic software. So I create I believe one of the first live forensic software at our companies. Um, and then I joined Monitor for brand protection. So I developed software, a system to analyze the malware for the companies. So
That's very interesting, because I believe starting to understand malware is it's something like today that not many people is very worried about, because always when we believe on malware analysis, we're always thinking like use the tool to see what is doing this application, what services are using this application, but no one have a different approach, and like to create like going deeply understand what the software are doing, right? Can you explain to us a little bit what kind of approach do you have when you create your first application to do malware analysis?
Initially, during those day, I focus in behavior based analysis. So the system, we have driver to monitor the input and output of the and any software that's running, right? So we monitor the network, the process and file, just the typical behavior based. But what interesting about that, that I do a little bit different is I'm also scanning for memory. So the reason for that is, during that time, we have a lot of banking malwares out there. So we're scanning malware for signatures for specific target, the banking. So we're able to identify the brand that the malware um, um, focus in, right? The target. So that's kind of like how we approach it, from behavior to memory type of monitors. Um,
Because in my well, based on my experience, that's why it's a question I want to do for you. Most of the malware I found there is created with Visual Basic, but you start in C, and that means like for do your malware analysis, you are doing the malware analysis on C, or you move to Visual Basic, or what do you find? I want to know a little bit which was your approach when you start to do the analysis of the malware. Okay, you say it's about the memory, but you are going to try to find some specific memories or movements to try to steal the password, because this is something very common where criminals do alteration on the memory, try to access to the memory to have decrypted the password. How was? Because I am not expert in that. That's why I bring you.
So I would split my answer to two part. The first part is learn like low level type of language like C plus plus. Understand the memory and the process, the fundamental right of that. Once you able to have that strong foundation in software engineering or development, then you're able to pivot into any language because all the language is going to be very much the same, right? So you mentioned, yeah, like Visual Basic to .NET to Java, the whole process is pretty much similar to it. But the second part is yeah, all the malware, they are very different from a internal standpoint, you know, whether it's Visual Basic or the .NET, or the C plus plus or Java, right? However, their behavior of how they do things is gonna be similar, or we can analyzing it from a higher level. So we can capture, you know, the input and output, how they communicate with the file system, read and write of those, and rewrite the registry of the internet, right, the network. So monitor of those part, we still able to capture a lot of detail without caring about the internal of the malware itself.
Another question I have, Wins, because you know the people just listen to you talking about malware. Can you explain about how many years do you have as malware analysis?
Um, so I've been doing it since the very start in reverse engineering or debugging malwares. So from my background, how I started is I also developing malwares. So I develop Trojan. That's how I learned. I never release any of those, but is I'm always interested in how to build a software to monitor the user activities, right? So that's how I started. Um, but is professionally, I've been doing it on and off for about like 5 or 6 years. Um, Personally, I work at Smart Monitor, where I do a lot of reversing there, building software to analyze the malware and reversing. I work at Threat Connects and iDefense for a little bit. But I always been just I love reversing malwares. So I've been doing it for a very long time, probably about 20 plus years since I started. Always hunting for new sample and just analyze it and just, you know, try to understand as much as I can.
Hmm. I make the question first of all because I want the people to understand your profile. Like you are not the new guy doing this. It's like you are almost 20 years in the market, like doing this and trying to understand what the criminals are doing. And also, I believe it's important this because give you the background to understand how was the first malware compared with the new malware, right? And also you was working with very important companies like Accenture, another one, because that means you have the possibility to analyze malware from many different points of view and many different companies. But you know, 20 years ago, not many people is doing the same you was doing, right? When we are doing that, it's like, why you want to know how the criminals are working? Why you want to know how this malware is working? You know, it was so different. That's why I understand when you say profits like working on this field like last 5 years, because something I try to explain to the people, and you know, some people come to the podcast and say the same like me with the same one. Like my experience is when we are starting in the beginning, we was criminals because we don't have platform like hack the boat or like try hack me. The only way to do it is creating the malware.
Yeah, exactly. Is um one of the things I talk to people is you have to understand how criminal works for you to defend it. right? So it's good to look at all the logs, event logs, and network scan and all that. But if you don't understand the mindset and how they able to bypass and move, navigate through the system, then it's gonna be very tough for you to defend it, right? So yeah, being a researcher, we gotta constantly doing learning new techniques, reading, what people share, and recreate it, right? And really in depth in understanding it. So we can have a better understanding of how to build countermeasure for it.
Something I was, or based on my experience, I found most of the time, most of the criminals, based on different countries, are reusing the same malware, doing different techniques to bypass area or something like that. But the final is was something like very similar. The people someone did. That's why many people say this attack come from APT 28, this attack come
Mhm.
from APT or whatever, right? But I want to know based on the experience because now I will give you long time because I believe this answer gonna be so long. I want to know how the criminals is working or was working and how it's compared with today how the criminals are working and what is the different approach. You know,
Mm,
I know it's a long answer.
yeah, that's a very so there's level to it. There's a lot of different um type of like criminal operation in the past that is based on the region. So I would say um when you start reversing malwares and look in depth, right? Not the behavior of the malware, but look at the code itself, then you can really, like you said, the signature, the way people develop is very different from different regions. Um, like the Russian type of malware is very clean, very like good software engineering in it. Um, South America code completely a mess, right? But it does the reason for it is the way the banking in South America is very different. So they have to implement a different type of techniques, right? Like one of the a lot of the South America like Bank of Brazil type of target is the malware listen to the browser. So any window that containing bb.com, right? .br, they automatically kill it, then spawn up the new window that try to fish the user in to enter the credential in there. That is not very advanced or sophisticated, right? Because it's just a basic phishing and killing. But that's how they do it in there. What the Russian is more elegance, right? Stealing credentials, sniffing monitor the browser, then doing the injection into the browser and using injecting it into the code to render on to capture the credential. Very different, very unique. So is always interesting when you cut profile the low level the code itself. The South America um malwares, not South America, Southeast Asia malwares, very interesting, completely different type of game plan as well. The design is a mess, and you kind of feel like when you look at the code, you see multiple developing the software, right? Because they have one function, multiple function do the same thing, but code completely different. Why? Right? It doesn't make sense because the only reason for it is because there's different level of engineering or different coder in there. They just pack everything together. What the Russian type of malwares, clean design, everything's like using reusable function to do it. So
And also recycling,
yeah.
because most of the time you do recycling of the when you see some malware, it's like this is the same I saw in another way, but different ifs in a different position, but finally it's doing the same, right? And that's a question like how the criminals today is trying to, or we can say, fish or catch the people. Like I know like many people Because when I explain this, I want your point of view, because when I explain like 70% of the malware arrive using phishing or smishing, the people say, no, but this is not today because we have many different ways to kill the phishing. But about on your experience, how many percentage do you believe is arriving this malware using phishing or smishing?
Um, so the spam detection has improved a lot. Um, However, a lot like there's different type of provider like Google, right? They're really good at detecting spam, but AT&T type of mail or like Microsoft or Yahoo is really bad in detection those. So scammers, they still target those. It work very effectively. So still like very effective in phishing people. Um, Malware delivery from phishing type of I don't see it that much anymore. I mean, I recently I make a post today and yesterday about one of the Nigeria hacker using email as a way to target like business. So I think that is still in play. That those not the business that doesn't use like spam have a spam type of detection in their email or still being a major risk at that. So cyber criminals still target those people. Um, but is now it's like they doesn't even have to do that anymore, right? I seen they share they target kids on YouTube. So video game cheating, right, is pretty popular currently, and a lot of the cyber criminals start creating video and post up on YouTube teaching people how to cheat a game. And they create, they upload the links to the software to do it, but the links is to a malware. And what and this kid, using download those and infect themselves. And many of the cases, the system been reused by the whole family, right? That means the parents who use the computer for work also compromise his credential from there.
And because I say that because many people believe like hackers is like the movies, like when the people watch like Mr. Robot or something like that, see people with a hoodie like trying to grant access to the perfect company or something like that. But I have experience, but some of my friends and some people I know, it's true that happens. And sometimes some we can say mafia pay for people for do that, but often it's not like that. When you see or when you see some criminal doing this, it's because it's very specific niche or very specific target. But this is really happen like most of the time, right? Because same was mentioning before, like why you want to do something like that when you can send or you could create a video for cheating in the video games, right? And get high number of users, right? Or PDFs. Today, a few days ago, I was seeing like one PDF infected can access or can have access to your computer and create and create something like that, And what kind of attacks do you see more often? Like trying to use this software, or because I believe also, or trying to access to different applications, because that the question comes from today many criminals are focused not more in the computers, more in the phones, because many people are using the phone, and the phone you have all your applications, you have your bank, if you have cryptocurrency, you have some people have cryptocurrency on the phone, and it's easy to target the phone. And I want to know, like, do you believe this is right or still using this?
Well, from the type of data that I capture, or through our platform, a lot of it is still computer focused, desktop window, like malware stealer. There's a significant amount on there. Um, Phishing as well. Seeing a lot of victim submitting the credential through the their browser, right? So I think the reason is the mobile device is still very limited, being controlled by the Apple Store or the Google Store, right? So it's very limited, and there's not a lot um, user who using the like third party type of market to infect themselves with it. However, I would say that I seen Southeast Asia, there's a lot more like malwares, like Android type of malware focused in those region. I think because people buying like cheap phone or the Chinese phone, or that doesn't control by Apple or the Google, so it's more target on that end.
Also, I want to arrive to that point because one of the things I or do you like to do it is try to find new malware, new because I see you have access to some Telegram groups and you are doing your research to see what is happening behind the scenes. And do you know some software? And with this, we don't want to explain to the people what you need to do bad things or something like that. Only we want to explain to the people how easy is today access to malware. And today we have application like malware as a service, and we have different platforms like for store your credentials. And can you explain a little bit what you are finding there and what is common to find and all? Because I know I don't remember the name, but you have one you can buy on internet. I believe it's Venom. Venom is for infect your Android phones, and you can buy online. It's like $300 monthly. You have a date, you have all the things, right? Can you explain a little bit what the people can find on the market? But this is I say like only for explaining to people how easy is arrive to that software, right?
Yeah. Simple Google search, right? And they advertise it all over the place on on Twitter or X, Instagram and TikToks, Facebook, Telegram. So it's very simple to find those when you start looking for it. Like right now, the um the data is so much that the access allow cyber criminal or criminal to searching for those type of resource very easily. Um, Telegram is the biggest market right now from what I've seen, because of the how easy it is to use. You don't need to go using Tor or to access some of the marketplace in the dark web anymore, or you don't have to rush register, right? Try to um, log into one of those Russian marketplace to buy it. So TikTok now, not TikTok, I'm sorry, Telegram now is a big landscape um for and you just able to very easily searching for the group and join them. However, I would say this, there's a lot of scammers. A scammer that scam the scammer, right? So most of it is not very trustworthy. So don't even start. um, and a lot of the cyber criminal also share a lot of the malware logs, so credentials in those channel on Telegram. Um, However, I would say be very careful with it because a lot of it implant with malwares, right? So once you download it, open up a screenshot, and but it's really is a shortcut to and running executing PowerShell and infected you with the malware, right? So be very careful with that because based on the logs that I seen, a lot of a lot of desktop I am seeing from criminal, right? So
And one of the famous ones here, at least in Spain, was raccoon info stealer. Can you explain to the people? Do you know raccoon info stealer? Of course, you know. But can you explain a little bit what the info stealer doing when you are infected in your computer? If someone is hearing this, like, okay, I got this, and what can happen with my credentials in that case?
yeah, so InfoStealer is a type new class of malwares that um they just their job is basically just gather all the information from your system and send it out, right? So when when you save your password in Chrome in your browser, that password is encrypted but able to decrypt very easily. So what this malware does is they reading your browser cookies, your credentials, or your save forms or anything that make our life a little bit easy. Also make our life really worse, right? Because raccoon would steal all this information, pack it, and send it back to the cyber criminal. And what this criminal does is either use it to break into our banks or emails or resell that to another criminal so they can perform fraud.
Because I said Raccoon because Raccoon is some of the software you can buy as a service and you can pay monthly, and you have a beautiful web interface where you have an access, you have your infected machines, you have your credentials. If someone saying you said it's interesting to know how it's working, you can go to try to find some information in Google. But be careful because maybe your computer will be infected. It's something right. But can you explain to us some attack you said or you saw for some company like it was very interesting or like crazy? Because something I like to explain to the people with is like, okay, we understand we have the hacker, special hacker like Mr. Robot, but also we have stupid attacks. But these stupid attacks is like how the criminals are working most of the day, you know. And can you explain some of one you saw in the in your password where you can share with the people? Of course, you don't say the customer.
Yeah, it's well, a lot of it is just um cyber criminal. They doesn't need to um do any advanced techniques, right? They just social engineering people, stealing and just walk in the door. So so you like for example one of the case I seen a few weeks ago regarding is a Pell School breach, right? Where the hacker able to steal a lot of PII information from that platform. So what it so I did a little search in my platform and saw that one of the teacher is compromised. He's an administrator for his school, um, for the parent school, and his account or credential was compromised. So that means that the cyber criminal who infect him able to log into the parent that the platform and able to steal all the credential because that account is administrator type of account. What interesting about it is when I look further into it is um, that desktop that he was using is they also compromise a few cheater um, website. So video game cheating. So what I believe happened is that computer was shared by one of his kid, and his kid go to cheat.com, I believe, some cheating website for Minecraft, and he download that and infect his account. So the whole computer, so the malware, I believe, is a Luma C2 malware stealer, and they able to capture the kid's Minecraft account, all the banking account, all the school accounts. So this teacher also log into his school. So the cyber criminal also able to obtain the school access and the internal like VPN access as well. So pretty much like from a single shared device, able to take down potentially able to take down the school and the whole infrastructure because here's the teacher also compromise his Microsoft account as well. So
That's why I like to explain to the companies, you know, you need to do like emulations, like adversary emulations, and try to get the same happens to another company and try in your company and see what happened in your company, right? because most of the people believe, no, we are safe, we have EDRs, we have everything. But if like, I mean, I have a case with a long time ago with someone have the computer, and he said, I have a problem with my computer, and this person was infected and was compromising not the company, because we are good on that, but we saw like that person is having some issues or trouble. And the thing is, like, my computer is broken, and I have a Telegram group where I share signals to cryptocurrencies, and someone sent me a software to download my currencies, and I was infected, because most of the people don't understand, like, the software you download, like, can have a grand access to someone, and that's a dangerous thing, right?
One of the incidents that I have in my one of the banks I work for is one of the user, I believe he's a programmer, was get phished, right? So the hacker able to get his account from there. So the hacker using the account sent internally to other employees and social engineering them. Simple stuff, right? Hey, I'm checking on your account right now, and checking to verify your password is correct. Please send me back your password. Guess what? Hundred of people. This is the biggest companies, one of the big companies that have a lot of training, right? Training after training about phishing, malwares, threats after, and people from all type, HR to programmer, coder, right? Securities also send back plain text, email, respond back. Here's my password, right? And it just so that the um the challenge that we facing is constant, and people have a tendency to trust very easily, and that's how the criminal exploit that trust, right? And yeah, like you mentioned, like the criminal, like a lot of these guy is not very sophisticated. They doesn't have to have biggest like skill right out there of exploiting software, anything like that. Just, can I have your password? And most of the time, people gonna just here.
And this is happens in some companies using Slack. Slack was so, we can say, easy to hack, and many companies have the problem, like someone from your chat send you a message like, hey guy, can you, or send me the OTP file, sometimes it's like, can you send me the OTP because I don't have an access to my computer or something like that. This is something happens very, very, very often. And if someone want to know more about these cases or analysis deeply about that, I invite the people go to your LinkedIn, because you have very, 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 very interesting stories there. But also, we are. I want to make you one question, because I believe it's interesting. What do you think now, or how will be this? Because the people say, okay, we have artificial intelligence. That means we don't need to work more as a malware analyst, because software or EA or artificial intelligence can do the malware analysis. But something that people don't understand, also the criminals are using artificial intelligence. And you have some experiences where you can share with us about artificial intelligence, or about your, what do you think about this how will be this in the market in the future, like how we how will be like the impact in the market in the future.
Okay. Do you know Fire Eyes?
No, I don't know this one.
Like one is it was merged into Mandiant's, but they was one of the big player in selling malware detection, right? During the early days, and there that the pitch was, you don't need engineering, you don't need securities engineering or analysts at all, because their platform able to detect malware and remediate it automatically, right? And and that's kind of funny, because that's how like people start using AI right now. Is so many companies um putting themselves out there as a solution that you don't need people anymore. You don't need analysts anymore. AI gonna solve everything, right? And that's really scary, because like if when you look at the AI, how they generate the response or take an action, they a lot of it is just completely wrong, right? And imagine, you putting your trust in something could be true or false, right? That's really scary. Um, but from a perspective of cyber crimes, um, AI is really scare me, honestly, because um, now you see how fast the technology going week by week, right? The with DeepSeek coming out open source, and Huawei and Alibaba and all these Chinese coming out openly, right? Sharing with all their technologies. Cyber criminal is going very fast in developing the software to impersonate us, right? So um from when we look at the attack vectors out there, imagine going into your Facebook, find one of your family member, impersonate them, right? Using image like cloning, right? And clone that image and basically call you up and start asking for money, right? That's where we're going. So it's not like social engineering to the 10 level now, because we can't tell the difference between what is right, who we talking to anymore, who we looking at. Like before, what we hearing is like just look at the person, seeing the little blurry or whatever, and you're able to differentiate whether they are cloning or not or fake or not. But with the advance of AI now is going so quick that you can't tell the difference, right? We seen a lot of people, like a few people post online saying that cyber criminals start to pretending to be someone else in the interview.
And that's happened with North Korea. You remember one guy was from North Korea. One developer was inside. I don't remember if it was Amazon or Meta was
Yeah,
hired there, and he was a spy.
yeah, it's crazy because like going with the Facebook 2 weeks ago, one of my parents' friend received a call from their cousin asking to borrow money, speak the same voice with the same facial, right? And she believe in his family members of they share transfer some like few $1,000 to that person. Um, the follow day, that person called them up and asked for the money back because that's the promise is to refund or transfer back like a day later. And they said they don't know what you're talking about. So it's getting there. It's really scary. Yeah. So I keep telling people never trust who you talk anymore. Just be offensive now because you never know anymore.
And then we arrive to the last question because we are saying like, do you have your company? Then how your company helped the people to protect about this kind of malware and attacks and this thing? What are you doing today? Because I talk about your company because it's your daily work today.
Yeah. Yeah, at Cyber Armor, my main focus in providing proactive type of protection, so active protection. So we monitor like the dark web, identify compromised account that been resell in the dark web. But two of the data that I think really worth to look into that I'm trying to share with people is phishing victims, right? And malware stealer victims. So I able to provide that for multiple different organization. Um, the their customer who has been compromised, whether it's phishing or malwares or resale on the dark web. And this is a way for them to stay one try to be one step ahead of before the fraud occur, right? Because yeah, I mean, being defensive the way we how enterprise used to do things, this doesn't work anymore, right? You can patch the firewall, monitor the transaction all you want, but the cyber criminal, they have the data, they have the key. They don't have to do anything. They just log in and transfer money out, right? Um, so yeah, cyber armor, I think is we have a very unique way to solve some of the problem, and yeah, like we can pivot and identify a lot of threat out there that can protect. So
And at the same velocity the technology is increasing, the criminals are working, right? Because you know, day by day we see news about how we have a scam center in Myanmar, scam center in Cambodia, scam center in Taiwan. Same message from, because that's the problem, right? The problem is, okay, when maybe you know who is the who is the delinquent, right, or who is the, but how do you recover the money there? That's it. That's a fair question. And the second question is like, how, like, okay, how, some if it's in USA, it's USA have a agreement with many countries to do the deportation, but you have different countries you don't have agreement for deportation, and maybe is using jumping machines to do the infectation, the attack to the victim. How you can catch that person, right? Because we are working in a global world, everything is connected, and the hard thing is, right, finally, okay, you are infected, something like that, but the pain did this person in your company, in your brand, maybe you didn't gonna get back. The people, the good thing, at least wins, is like the people have very bad memory and don't remember Sony was hacked, Microsoft was hacked, everything was hacked. But for these companies, you have big insurance, you have big money. That's what happened with the meat companies, and most of the companies of the world are meat companies, right?
yeah, yeah, it's tough. I mean, honestly, there's so many problem that I'm not sure how to fix it. Like going back to your scam example, um, I a few months ago, I was communicating or profiling one of the scammers um through job recruitment, and we gather a lot of information, right? And we kind of like try to contact the FBI. You know, here's a location, here's a crypto account to help recover all these victims. And the challenge that we're facing is that the FBI is very low in manpower, so they won't use they don't take the case unless it's like $1 million loss. So it's like, what does that mean for the small business, or for the people who lost their whole life saving, but it's not enough, not enough. So it's very tough. Yeah,
Totally agree with you, and that's why we create this podcast, because we want to let the people understand where we are and where we are going. Sadly, with the AI and these tools, and how the criminals are improving techniques, because technology maybe 10 years ago it was so difficult for some countries, but today you see many attacks from Nigeria, you see many attacks from Pakistan, Afghanistan, countries was nothing before, but 10 years later you have access to internet, you have access to your phone, and the people need to start to protect, because same we was mentioning before, like the law is not the same, and sometimes it's so hard. And for a big company, lose a couple of millions is not important, but for someone, it's a small company, lose and 10,000 or 20,000 can be a very, very huge problem in the future, or the future of the family, right? Then, Win, thank you very much for that time. It was a pleasure. A very interesting conversation with you, and I hope to see you soon. I will put your links in the description below if someone want to follow you in your social media and everything. And thank you very much for your time, man.
no, truly appreciate this. It is great talking to you about all of this. Is and yeah, is share as much as we can, because there's a lot of problem out there we need to fix. So
And I'm facing in the future. Then thank you very much, my friend. Bye bye.